Nobody could believe it in that moment. Patrick Swayze's photo was going viral on TikTok, but this time, not because he was dancing. On New Year's Eve 2024, millions of Gen Z kids were sharing a backstage photo of Patrick from 1987 with the hashtag #RealMenCry. In the photo, Patrick was sitting alone in a corner on the Dirty Dancing set, eyes red, holding a letter in his hand. That letter was proof of the biggest mistake at the peak of his career, and no one knew at the time that this mistake would transform Patrick from Hollywood royalty into a broken man, and then turn him into a real hero. This isn't just a celebrity scandal story. This is the story of how one of America's most beloved actors lost everything at the top of fame, hit rock bottom, and emerged from there to find real redemption. This story is like Wayne Kramer's journey with MC5, revolution, downfall, and personal transformation. In 1987, Patrick Swayze was Hollywood's golden boy. Dirty Dancing had exploded at the box office. The phrase, "nobody puts baby in a corner," had entered America's vocabulary. Patrick wasn't just an actor anymore. He was a cultural phenomenon, a dream man, everything American women wanted and men wanted to be. But at the peak of fame, Patrick made a mistake whose consequences would haunt him for decades. In December 1987, Patrick was in Chicago for Ghost's pre-production meetings. While talking to producer Jerry Zucker in the hotel lobby, a nervous woman approached them. With a trembling voice, she said, "Excuse me, Mr. Swayze? I'm Martha Williams. My son Tommy is a huge fan of yours. He's in the hospital right now with leukemia, and his last wish is to meet you." Patrick, exhausted from 18-hour days and irritated by constant interruptions, barely looked up. "Ma'am, I can't meet every sick kid. Talk to my publicist." Cold, dismissive, cruel. Martha's face crumbled. "Sir, he's only 12. Doctors say maybe days left." "Look, lady," Patrick snapped, "I'm not a Make-A-Wish Foundation. I'm an actor trying to work." Jerry Zucker witnessed everything, stunned by Patrick's callousness. Martha Williams walked away, crying. This is exactly where everything changed. 3 days later, the Chicago Tribune headline read, "Patrick Swayze refuses dying boy's last wish." The story went national immediately. Martha Williams had told local news about the heartless encounter. The media exploded. Patrick's publicist went into panic mode. "Patrick, this is a disaster. We need damage control now." Patrick was initially defiant. "I can't meet every dying kid in America. It's not a reasonable expectation." But the story took on a life of its own. Martha Williams appeared on every talk show. "My Tommy watches Dirty Dancing every day in the hospital." Patrick Swayze broke his heart. But the most shocking thing was this. Tommy Williams died on Christmas morning, 1987, never meeting his hero. Patrick's career went into an immediate tailspin. Ghost still made money, but public perception shifted. Heartless Hollywood star became his unofficial nickname. Fan mail turned hateful. "How could you refuse a dying child? You're not the man we thought you were." Patrick tried apologizing publicly, but the damage was done. Every interview brought up Tommy Williams. At every red carpet, reporters asked, "Any regrets about the dying boy incident?" Patrick began drinking heavily. Guilt was eating him alive daily. "I killed that kid's dreams," he told Lisa repeatedly. "I'm not a hero, I'm a monster." In 1990, Martha Williams wrote Patrick a devastating letter. "Mr. Swayze, Tommy died holding a Dirty Dancing poster, whispering your name. You were his hero until his final breath. I hope someday you understand what your cruelty cost my family. Not just Tommy's disappointment, but years of watching him fade away, believing his idol didn't care about him." The letter destroyed Patrick completely. He kept it in his wallet, read it daily, a self-torture ritual. Career opportunities dried up. Directors whispered, "Patrick Swayze, the guy who let a kid die heartbroken?" Roles went to other actors. Box office numbers dropped. Patrick went from A-list to B-list to barely working. In 1993, Patrick hit rock bottom. Unemployment depression, alcoholism. Lisa was threatening divorce. I can't watch you destroy yourself over this mistake anymore. Patrick sat alone in his Malibu house, surrounded by empty bottles, staring at Tommy Williams's newspaper clipping. Maybe I don't deserve redemption, he thought. Maybe some mistakes are unforgivable. Now you haven't seen anything yet. Patrick decided on a desperate plan. Find Martha Williams, apologize in person, and try to make amends somehow. In January 1995, Patrick drove to Chicago, sober for the first time in years, determined to face Martha Williams. He found her address through a private investigator. Martha's South Side neighborhood was a working-class area with modest homes. Patrick knocked on the door, his heart pounding. Martha opened the door, having aged dramatically in the 8 years since Tommy's death. She recognized Patrick immediately, and her face hardened. "What do you want?" she asked coldly. "Mrs. Williams, I came to apologize, face to face, for what I did to Tommy. An apology won't bring my son back." "I know, but I need you to know. Not a day passes that I don't think about Tommy. Your letter, I carry it everywhere. It reminds me who I really am underneath all the Hollywood bullshit." Martha stared at him, suspicious but curious. "Wait a minute. Don't miss this detail." Patrick continued. "Mrs. Williams, I can't undo what I did, but I want to do something. In Tommy's memory." "Like what?" "I want to create a foundation for sick children whose heroes let them down. Second chances for both kids and celebrities who forgot their humanity." Martha's expression softened slightly. "You think money fixes everything?" "No, ma'am. But maybe action does. Maybe spending the rest of my life making sure no other child dies feeling abandoned by their hero." Patrick explained his plan. The Tommy Williams Foundation for Forgotten Children. Celebrities visiting sick kids. But more than that, ongoing relationships, real connections, not just photo ops. Martha listened, tears forming. Tommy would like that. The foundation launched in March 1995. Patrick personally visited over 500 sick children in the first year. These weren't publicity stunts, they were real visits, real relationships, real caring. You won't believe this, but Patrick discovered something profound. Helping these children healed him more than therapy ever could. The media noticed the transformation. Patrick Swayze, once the heartless Hollywood star, was now spending unpaid time with terminally ill children, with no cameras present. In 1997, something miraculous happened. 8-year-old Sarah Chen, dying of brain cancer, met Patrick through the foundation. She lived 2 years longer than doctors predicted, crediting Patrick's weekly visits for giving her the will to fight. "Mr. Patrick made me feel special," Sarah said in an interview before her peaceful death in 1999. "Not because he's famous, but because he listens to me like I matter." Patrick realized this was his real revolution, not entertaining the masses, but transforming individual lives, one child at a time. In 2001, Martha Williams became the foundation's co-director. "Patrick," she told him, "Tommy would be proud. You turned his heartbreak into hope for thousands." Patrick's career resurged, but now he was a different person. Roles came because of his character, not despite his past mistake. When Patrick was diagnosed with cancer in 2007, he continued his foundation work until his final weeks. "These kids taught me about courage," he said in his last interview. "Facing death with grace, finding joy in small moments. I thought I was helping them. The truth is, they saved me." Patrick died in September 2009. His funeral was attended by hundreds of children whose lives he'd touched. The foundation continues today as the Tommy and Patrick Foundation. Over 10,000 sick children have been served, and the celebrity program has expanded globally. Martha Williams, now 78, still tells Patrick's story. He made the worst mistake possible, but he turned it into the greatest gift imaginable. That's not Hollywood redemption. That Like Wayne Kramer of MC5, Patrick Swayze learned that real revolution isn't changing the world, it's changing yourself. Society will always have cruel celebrities, heartless encounters, and broken promises, but individuals can transform. Patrick's mistake with Tommy Williams was unforgivable. But forgiveness wasn't the point. Transformation was. He couldn't save Tommy, but he saved himself by saving others. Martha Williams keeps Tommy's room exactly as it was, with one addition, a photo of Patrick with hundreds of children he helped. Tommy's legacy, she says, one cruel moment became a catalyst for countless acts of kindness. Today's TikTok generation, discovering Patrick's story, understands something their parents didn't. Real heroism isn't perfection, it's redemption. It's acknowledging your worst moment and spending the rest of your life proving you're better than that moment. Patrick Swayze proved that fame's worst enemy isn't bad reviews or box office flops. It's forgetting your humanity. But he also proved that humanity can be reclaimed, one sick child at a time, one genuine moment at a time, one transformed life at a time. The revolution wasn't in the movies Patrick made. The revolution was in the man Patrick became after he fell from grace and climbed back up, not to reclaim his pedestal, but to lift others onto it. Tommy Williams died believing his hero had abandoned him. But Tommy's death created a hero who never abandoned anyone again. Because sometimes our worst mistakes become our greatest purposes. Sometimes a fall from grace leads to a rise to greatness. And sometimes a 12-year-old boy's broken heart becomes the foundation that heals thousands of broken hearts. Patrick Swayze learned what Wayne Kramer learned in prison, what all real heroes eventually discover. The only revolution that matters is personal revolution. Change yourself, then use that change to lift others. That's not a Hollywood ending. That's real-life redemption. And in real life, redemption isn't about erasing your mistakes. It's about transforming them into your mission. The boy who died heartbroken became the inspiration for a foundation that prevented thousands of other children from dying the same way. The celebrity who showed cruelty became a symbol of compassion. The mistake that destroyed a career became the catalyst for life's greatest work. This is what real transformation looks like. Not perfect people doing good things, but broken people using their brokenness to heal others. Not avoiding mistakes, but learning from them so profoundly that they become gifts to the world. Martha Williams forgave Patrick not because he apologized, but because he changed. Tommy Williams' death wasn't meaningless, because it prevented countless other meaningless deaths. And Patrick Swayze's legacy isn't Dirty Dancing or Ghost. It's proof that anyone can fall from grace and climb back to something even greater than grace. Genuine service to others. The TikTok photo that went viral shows Patrick crying in 1987, holding a letter about his mistake. But it doesn't show what came after. Patrick laughing with sick children. Patrick holding hands with dying kids. Patrick proving that heroes aren't people who never fall. They're people who get back up and help others do the same. Real revolution starts with one person deciding to be different. Patrick Swayze started that revolution in Martha Williams' living room when he chose accountability over denial, service over self-pity, transformation over self-destruction. Every child Patrick visited after 1995 benefited from Tommy Williams' heartbreak. Every celebrity who joined the foundation learned that fame without humanity is worthless. Every family that found hope through the Tommy and Patrick Foundation experienced the ripple effect of one man's decision to turn his worst moment into his best work. This story teaches us that mistakes don't have to define us, but they should change us. That falling from grace isn't the end of the story. It can be the beginning of a better story. That real heroes aren't perfect people, but transformed people who use their transformation to transform others. Today, when celebrities face scandals, some hide, some deny, some disappear. Patrick Swayze showed a different path. Face your mistake, own its consequences, then spend the rest of your life proving you learned from it. The hashtag real men cry that made Patrick's photo go viral represents something deeper than just emotional expression. It represents authenticity, vulnerability, and the willingness to be human in public. Patrick crying in that backstage photo wasn't a moment of weakness. It was a moment of awakening to who he really wanted to be. Tommy Williams died never meeting his hero. But because Tommy died heartbroken, thousands of other children lived, knowing their heroes cared. That's not Hollywood magic. That's real-world redemption. If this story of fall and redemption, of cruelty transformed into compassion, of mistakes becoming missions touched you, remember that we all have the power to choose who we become after we fail. Share this story with someone who needs to know that our worst moments don't have to be our final moments. Because sometimes the people who fall furthest climb highest. Sometimes the people who hurt others most end up healing others most. And sometimes a 12-year-old boy's last wish, even when refused, becomes the foundation for thousands of wishes granted. Patrick Swayze fell from grace, but he climbed back up carrying others with him. That's not just redemption, that's revolution.